Strap in, folks, because we're diving into another episode of the View Meltdown Unhinged edition. You ever watch a group of rich liberals pretend they're the voice of the common people while sitting in designer chairs, sipping on overpriced lattes, and yelling about how democracy is in danger? Yeah. Welcome to another day in America, where the people who screech the loudest about misinformation are the biggest peddlers of it. Whether it's Beyonce's Grammy count somehow being a civil rights battle, Elon Musk becoming the new boogeyman of the left, or their latest Trump freakout, the ladies of The View have once again blessed us with their world-class tantrums. First up, we have their discussion about Beyonce. Apparently, questioning why she's got more Grammys than Sinatra and Dolly Parton combined is now racist.
Dolly Parton has 10 Grammys. Frank Sinatra had 11 Grammys. Beyonce has 35. How is that possibly commensurate with that talent? I mean, come on. And what people don't know about the Grammys is everybody votes in every genre. You can vote in up to 20 genres. So basically, Lady Gaga's Cat Sitter votes for best reggae and best country album. So that's why you get this ridiculous outcome that has nothing to do with the country audience or the country musicians.
Sir, are you aware that you have to be in the music industry to be a Grammy voter? Mm-hmm. So the cat sitter cannot just vote. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Are you aware that when the Grammys began in 1959, there were only 28 categories. Now there are 94. And the year that Frank Sinatra got 6 nominations, despite having 2 #1 albums, he only won 1 Grammy that night for his album cover. Not even for his singing, for the album cover. Listen, man, you can't do that. She earned it. The thing you have, you wanna hold on to country music like white people didn't also buy her country album? Come on, man. People voted for it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Same with the Oscars. Sit down.
As always, Whoopi treated a simple observation about award show inflation like it was a Klan rally. But is anyone really surprised anymore? Now let's take it from the top. A Fox News host questioned why Beyonce has racked up more Grammys than Sinatra and Dolly Parton combined. Seems like a fair point, except questioning anything about Queen Bee is basically a hate crime to the woke brigade. Whoopi and her panel of professionally outraged elites are here to set the record straight. I mean, screech incoherently while patting themselves on the back for being on the right side of history. And Whoopi's big gotcha moment informing the world that Grammy voters have to be in the music industry. Ah, yes. Because we all know that the modern music industry is a bastion of integrity. I mean, if you count record label execs, industry insiders with political agendas, and Billie Eilish's hairdresser's assistants, sure. But this isn't 1959. The Recording Academy has turned into an activist playground where awards are distributed based on who whines the loudest, not who makes the best music. Yet Whoopi, in peak condescending auntie mode, acts like she just dropped some earth-shattering truth bomb. Sorry, Whoopi, but saying the process is rigged isn't the same as saying Lady Gaga's cat sitter is voting. It's a metaphor. I know nuance is hard for daytime television, but you guys could try. Then, because The View operates like a malfunctioning chatbot that always spits out the same script, we get the inevitable race angle. Whoopi goes full woke historian mode, claiming that questioning Beyonce's Grammy count is somehow a desperate attempt to hold on to country music like white people didn't buy her album. Ah, yes. The good old, if you don't love something, it must be because of a racism argument. Never mind that Beyonce's country album was about as country as a vegan burger at a Texas steakhouse. Never mind that the actual country music audience wasn't exactly bumping Texas Hold'em on repeat. Never mind that Beyonce's album underperformed literally everybody else on the category as far as sales goes. None of that matters because The View's golden rule is simple. If a black artist wins something, it's deserved. If they don't, that's racism. No further thought required. But Whoopi's masterclass in intellectual rigor doesn't stop there. She wraps up her tantrum with the profound wisdom of a middle school dodgeball coach. People voted for it. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you don't. Sit down. Wow. Truly, the Socrates of our time. Except, funny how this logic only applies when it benefits her side. When Beyonce sweeps the Grammys, it's sometimes you win. When the Oscars don't give enough awards to diverse voices, it's a crisis. When Trump wins an election, it's Russian interference. When Biden wins, it's the most secure election in history. I think I noticed a pattern there. At the end of the day, this isn't about Beyonce or the Grammys or even country music. It's about The View doing what they do best, turning every topic into a race-baiting, brain-melting, virtue-signaling pity party while pretending they're the smartest people in the room. Their entire show is just the Mad Libs for faux outrage. Blank is racist because blank, and you're a bad person if you disagree. Rinse and repeat. So thanks for the laughs, ladies. I look forward to your next meltdown, which, funny enough, happened shortly after that.
It seems to me, though, that the reason that Fox News or whoever that was is upset is because she won Best Country Album and she won Album of the Year with country music. And, you know, I understand that there were other influences in terms of country music, but one of the greatest influences has been the African-American community. But the banjo, the instrument, comes from Africa. They brought that with them here when they were enslaved. And the other thing you have to note is that in the 20s, there were two types of sort of country music. One was called the hillbilly music. You know this, Whoopi. The other one was called race music. So that music was just supposed to be black country. The other one was supposed to be white country. What they then did was, because so many black country stars were involved in the white version of the hillbilly music, they erased them from history. They had white stand-ins sort of strumming the banjo when actually a black person had participated in that. And so country music is very much black music. It is very much American music. And so the fact that she is from Houston, Texas, and grew up on country music makes it all the more appropriate for her to be a country music singer.
Thank you, Sonny Hostin, also known as the Malcolm X of mediocrity, for delivering yet another Wikipedia deep dive nobody asked for. This time, she's here educating the unwashed masses about how Beyonce's country Grammy isn't just deserved, it's reparations. And if you disagree, congratulations. You're basically a Confederate general now. So let's break down this fever dream. Sonny starts by doing what The View does best, throwing around the word racist like a toddler flinging mashed potatoes. Apparently, questioning whether Beyonce's sudden pivot to country is authentic means you secretly want to bring back segregation. It couldn't possibly be that country fans weren't really vibing with a hyper-produced, corporate-manufactured genre switch. Nope. It has to be with race supremacy. Then, in an Olympic-level leap of logic, she goes on about the banjo coming from America. That's right, folks, because an instrument's origins trace back to Africa, that means Beyonce must be a country artist. Not a logical fallacy at all. Never mind that the actual banjo, as we know it today, was developed in America, evolving from African string instruments, but incorporating European elements like a flat wooden body, frets, and tuning mechanisms. But sure, let's pretend the banjo's distant ancestry means modern country music is secretly an African genre. Using this logic, I suppose I'm the rightful heir of Italian cuisine because I once ate a slice of pizza. Someone get me my Michelin star. I deserve it. And then we get the cherry on the cake, the black erasure conspiracy. According to Sonny, country music was actually black music all along, but evil white folks showed up like musical colonizers and erased the true pioneers. Yes, folks, you heard that correctly. The same music industry that couldn't stop worshiping and rewarding Ray Charles, Charlie Pride, and Darius Rucker was secretly running an underground country music black market to keep black artists out. Are we sure this is The View or maybe Alex Jones? Then she drops the most galaxy brain take yet. Beyonce is from Houston, so obviously she's country. Ah, yes. By that logic, every New Yorker is a mafia boss, every Chicagoan should get an honorary NBA championship, and every kid born near Silicon Valley must be the next Steve Jobs, because location equals cultural mastery. Someone tell Vanilla Ice he's now an official ambassador for Miami hip-hop. Pretty sure Rick Ross is going to love that one. At the end of the day, this isn't about Beyonce. It's about rewriting history to fit a woke narrative, where diversity doesn't mean adding more people to the table. It means bulldozing the table and pretending history started yesterday. The industry decided Beyonce would be a country star, then poof, the Grammys handed her a trophy. But instead of admitting this was a carefully orchestrated PR move, The View is here to tell you that if you so much as raise an eyebrow, you're basically burning crosses on a front lawn. And the best part, Sonny actually thinks she dropped a bombshell. She's sitting there like she just outed the Illuminati, oblivious to the fact that nobody was arguing against black artists in country music, just industry manipulation. But nuance has never been The View's strong suit. So here we are, watching them melt down over a debate they solely invented Talk about a straw man. But hey, at least we learned about the African origins of the banjo. Maybe next week, Sonny can teach us how sliced bread is actually a social justice issue. Anyway, next up, we have The View getting their panties in a twist over Elon Musk killing government corruption, because I guess that's what Democrats want to be known now for, being the party of corruption.
Who are these people and why do they have access to any of your business?
Well, they don't. What they're doing is actually illegal. Everyone knows that the separation of powers allows for Congress to decide. They have the power of the purse. This is money that was already allocated from taxpayer money.
Yeah.
And to stop it is actually, there was an act passed in 1974, right? I think it was the Impoundment Control Act, because they feared Nixon was blocking programs where Congress had already approved funds because he didn't like them. So it's beyond Elon Musk. Donald Trump doesn't have the power to do what he's doing right now, but I wonder where the screaming is, because Donald Trump floods the zone. We talked about how the last couple weeks has felt like a year. It's only been a couple weeks. And what he's doing is
two, by the way.
2 weeks. He's, while ending DEI, the immigration raids that they aired out all over television, started a trade war. But meanwhile, this is the thing people should keep their eye on, because this flies in the face of our Constitution. And that's where people should be enraged.
Sarah Haynes, The View's very own Wikipedia law professor, delivering yet another spit-flying meltdown over things that aren't even real. Nothing screams serious political analysis quite like a hyperventilating daytime talk show host squinting into the camera and screaming, "Illegal!" like a Karen trying to return a 3-year-old blender at Target. Now, let's start with the big one. Sarah claims what they're doing is actually illegal. Oh, wow, Sarah. Did you consult your legal team at Starbucks and Twitter LLP, or are we just throwing out felonies like Oprah handing out free cars? She name drops the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 as if she just cracked the Watergate 2.0 case wide open. Except, here's the thing. Nothing Trump or Musk is doing violates the law. The ICA was designed to prevent a sitting president from permanently refusing to spend money that Congress has already allocated. But does Sarah provide any actual proof that funds are being permanently blocked or illegally withheld? Nope. Instead, it's just another game of buzzword bingo. Trump, Nixon, illegal, Constitution. String them together, season it with hysteria, and hope Whoopi nods in agreement. And here's what Sarah conveniently leaves out, because let's be honest, basic governance is above her pay grade. The executive branch absolutely has the power to freeze or delay spending under certain conditions. It's called budgetary oversight, not stealing America's lunch money. The president isn't some treasury vending machine that automatically spits out taxpayer dollars the second Congress pushes a button. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, can legally withhold funds for review, realignment, or even rescission requests, which Congress can then approve or deny. So no, Sarah, Trump pausing a check doesn't mean he's staging a coup. It just means he read the fine print before signing away your grandkids' future to another bloated spending bill. Then comes the panting hysteria. Trump floods the zones and has no power to do what he's doing. Doing what exactly? Oh, right. We're never told. Just another vague fill-in-the-blank accusation, so the audience can project their latest MSNBC fever dream onto it. And of course, because The View cannot function without declaring the Republic dead at least once per episode, Sarah howls that Trump's actions fly in the face of our Constitution. Oh, the Constitution, Sarah. You mean the same one that gives the executive branch authority to set administrative priorities. The same one that doesn't require a president to rubber stamp every failed policy from the last guy. Because last I checked, DEI initiatives aren't in the Bill of Rights. Trade negotiations aren't illegal, and border enforcement is literally the president's job. This is classic View hysteria. Take a mundane policy shift, slap together some historical name drops, and hope the audience is too busy choking on their oat milk lattes to notice the logical gaps. Sarah isn't explaining why something is unconstitutional. She's just shouting that it is, because in her mind, anything Trump does must be illegal by default. It's like watching a vegan at a barbecue screaming that meat is murder. You're not along, but they don't actually understand how farming works. But instead of an annoying dinner guest, it's a national talk show. And instead of plant-based activism, it's millions of people now thinking Trump and Elon are robbing America like a GTA side mission. At this point, I have expect The View to claim Trump is sending ICE agents to arrest drag queens while Musk rewires a Federal Reserve to mine Bitcoin for Tesla. Because why not? If you're going to go full retard, at least make it entertaining.
I think this is what he's doing. I've given so much thought to it when we first started learning about Elon Musk now being a special government employee, which means he has top security clearance, but he doesn't have the obligations that a full federal employee has. So he doesn't have to give the same amount of disclosures. He has less conflicts of interest. And it seems to me that when I put my legal hat on, what Donald Trump is trying to do is he's trying to expand the powers of the executive branch. We all know, or we should know in this country, that there are three co-equal branches of government. You've got
Who are they, Sonny?
Okay, so you've got the judicial branch, you've got the executive branch, and you've got the legislative branch. The legislative branch is the branch that Sarah was just talking about, which is Congress, right? So you've got the House and Senate, power of the purse. What he is trying to do is trying to figure out how he can expand his power, the power of the executive branch, and have a little more power over Congress. And he certainly has kind of a bit of power over the judicial branch, because the top of the judicial branch is the Supreme Court, which he has packed with loyalists. So in my view, I think he's causing a constitutional crisis intentionally, so that this goes to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen, say, yeah, he can do this, our Constitution, as we've known it, is basically going to change forever. It will not be the Constitution that the framers of our government, our country, thought of.
Right. Well, it looks like The View's resident doom prophet delivered yet another breathless, psychotic break over things that aren't happening. This time, Sonny's connecting dots that don't exist to warn us that Elon Musk is basically a Bond villain with top security clearance. Trump is rewriting the Constitution with crayon. And the Supreme Court is 5 minutes away from swearing him in as Emperor of Earth. If paranoia had a Hall of Fame, Sonny's portrait would be framed in gold with an engraved plaque reading, "Never let the truth get in the way of a good freakout." Let's start with her first fever dream, that Elon Musk, the guy who sells flamethrowers for fun, is secretly embedded in the federal government with unlimited access to classified intel. I mean, at this point, why not just say he has a nuclear codes tattooed on his forearm? The reality, a special government employee is just a temporary consultant, not an all-powerful deep state puppet master. But Sonny, never one to let reality interfere with the quality meltdown, makes it sound like Musk is single-handedly running the Pentagon while live tweeting memes. Then, putting on her imaginary Supreme Court justice robe, she declares that Trump is expanding the executive branch to take over Congress and the judiciary. Who knew governing within normal constitutional limits was now called a coup? And while we're on the topic of executive overreach, is Sonny aware that the last guy, Joe Pen and Phone Biden, issued more executive orders in his first 2 years than Trump did in 4? But nope. Trump is the one plotting a government takeover. And here's where we really hit the tinfoil hat stage. Trump has packed the Supreme Court with loyalists, and this is all leading to a constitutional crisis. Oh, Sonny, appointing judges the normal way isn't court packing. That's just being a president. But do you know who actually floated the idea of adding more justices to dilute the conservative majority? Joe Biden. But sure, tell me again how following the law is somehow a fascist plot. And then, right on cue, Whoopi grunts out her usual deep legal analysis is in the toilet. Ah, yes. The perfect exclamation point to a segment that should have ended with a laugh track. Laughing at them, not with them. Clear distinction. So to summarize, Elon is not a rogue government agent running ops from a Tesla factory. Trump is not creating a dictatorship because he checks notes. Appointed justices the same way every other president has done throughout the history of this country. And the Constitution is not in crisis. Sonny Hostin's grasp on reality is. And need I remind you, The View is not a serious political show. It's just the Real Housewives of the Resistance. At this point, I fully expect The View to start reporting that Trump and Musk are building a Death Star over Texas and training an army of AI-enhanced Proud Boys to storm Congress, because let's be real, the delusions are only going to get darker and more psychotic and dumber from here.
There is a way to streamline and to cut funding, and then there's doing away with congressionally.
Well, and they can vote on it. They have all the power right now.
And let's not forget, USAID advances national security, works to protect human rights and improve global health. The agency is funded by taxpayer dollars, authorized by Congress. No one said to us, hey, we looked at this in the last 2 weeks, And we've decided that this isn't a good idea. What do you think? And the last thing I'm going to say is that in 2023, USAID was less than 1% of the federal budget. So why they're going after that?
Well,
yeah.
Can I say something
Yes.
about that? You know, we all talked about how Marco Rubio, heading, the State Department or being the Secretary of State, he was so supremely qualified. And that was one of the good cabinet choices that was made. Well, he has installed an assistant, sort of the second in command in the state. His name is Beatty, I believe is his last name.
He's an undersecretary.
He's the undersecretary. I hope we have a clip of what of his text. He has said that white men need to be in charge of everything rather than anyone else. And there are about 4 to 5, and he's been saying this on X for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And so there are years and years of his bigotry on display. And Marco Rubio thinks that that person is appropriate to be his undersecretary and also to have a hand in USAID. So I'm very concerned about.
Brace yourselves, folks. The View has just discovered budget cuts, and they are absolutely horrified. That's right, folks. The same panel that screeches about reckless government spending when Republicans suggest cutting domestic welfare is now having a full-blown cardiac episode because the government dares to reconsider funding for USAID, an organization that specializes in setting American tax dollars on fire and calling it humanitarian aid. If you didn't know any better, you'd think Trump was personally flying to Africa to slap rice bowls out of starving children's hands. So let's break down this meltdown of the century, starting with Whoopi's very informed defense of USAID. According to her, the agency is essential to national security, human rights, and global health. Wow, that sounds truly noble. Except here's a tiny little problem. USAID is one of the most bloated, mismanaged, and corrupt money pits in the federal government. The Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction found that USAID flushed over $19 billion down the toilet in Afghanistan alone, funding such crucial humanitarian projects such as $150 million towards luxury villas for contractors, while the Taliban was actively regaining control. That's right. While Americans were struggling to buy groceries, USAID was out here hosting luxury getaways for bureaucrats in a war zone. But please, tell me again how cutting this program is a human rights violation. And of course, because The View is allergic to facts, Whoopi is outraged that nobody consulted her before making these cuts. Oh no, Whoopi! Congress forgot to check in with a daytime talk show host before adjusting the budget? Who knew that government spending needed approval from a panel of women who think the Constitution is written in Comic Sans? And if Whoopi really cares about proper procedures, maybe she should direct that outrage towards, Joe Biden, who has signed over 130 executive orders bypassing Congress altogether, many of them blowing billions of dollars in taxpayer money with zero oversight. But sure, now they care. Then we get Sunny Hostin, the queen of manufactured outrage, who never misses an opportunity to completely derail a policy discussion with a good old-fashioned identity politics rant. Instead of addressing whether USAID is effective, necessary, or even remotely competent, she clutches her pearls over a guy she barely knows because he tweeted something mean 5 years ago. Ah, yes. Nothing makes a stronger case for keeping a wasteful spending government agency than a vague accusation about an undersecretary's social media posts. If this is a standard now, we should probably dismantle the Democrat Party, given that the vast majority of them have called conservatives fascists on X in the last week alone. And speaking of manufactured outrage, The View is now deeply concerned about Marco Rubio appointing a controversial official. Oh no, not a government official with opinions. How dare you? Meanwhile, the Biden administration was stacked with actual lunatics, including people who openly advocated for race-based hiring, radical climate policies, and even banning gas stoves because apparently boiling pasta is a national security threat. And things got so absolutely unhinged during Biden's administration that the Brookings Institute exposed that Biden's Department of Energy was prioritizing diversity quotas over actual expertise, and the Consumer Product Safety Commission literally floated a nationwide gas stove ban because equity. But sure, Let's lose our minds over a Republican hire who maybe posted some spicy tweets. Then right on cue, we get the final act, the segment ending in pure hysteria, where they collectively decide that anyone who supports cutting USAID is an evil monster who enjoys suffering. Because God forbid if we ask maybe, just maybe, our $34.4 trillion national debt take priority over sending foreign aid to countries that would stab us in the back the second China offers them a better deal. Need I remind you folks that in 2 years, Biden sent $113 billion to Ukraine, more than the entire annual USAID budget, but The View doesn't seem to think that's excessive. Nope. Cutting less than 1% of the federal budget is what's really going to end civilization now. At some point, we have to ask ourselves, how much of what we're told is actually about the issues and how much is just a performance to keep us outraged, distracted, and obedient? The View's hysterical reaction to budget cuts isn't about foreign aid, just like their breathless warnings about constitutional crises were never about democracy. It's about manufacturing a reality where questioning government spending is evil, where facts are optional, and where emotional theatrics override logic. If you buy into it, you're exactly where they want you, wasting energy on manufactured outrage instead of demanding real accountability. So the next time these people shriek that the sky is falling, take a step back and ask yourself, who actually benefits from keeping you panicked, misinformed, and blind to the bigger picture? Because I guarantee you, it's not you. You tell me what you think in the comments down below. Hope you have a terrific day. Peace.